Okay, so let's get this started. Thank you so much for joining on a Saturday morning. Um, as we keep waiting for folks to join in, it'll be great if I can know where you're from. That's, where you are in your journey as a content writer and what are you looking for from today's session. So drop in on the chat window and I'd love to know. I think more folks are joining in. So what we're going to do today is talk about what does it take to build a great portfolio. And please feel free to ask any questions. If you can see a Q&A box in your like the window, that's where you should post questions because it's very difficult for me to scroll through the chat and then answer questions. So any questions you want answered, please put it in the Q&A window. So I'm gonna, oh wow, so we have Delhi, Mumbai. I'm personally based in Bangalore. Awesome, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a few slides, which is going to take us through a narrative on what are some of the elements of building a portfolio. But before we start, I want to know how many of you actually have a portfolio. So I'm going to put up a poll. If you can answer that, that'll be awesome. You can see it on your screen now. Okay, so majority of you don't have a portfolio. Okay. For some of you, it's not getting the results you want. Cool. Nice. I'll keep it open for a few more seconds. So please feel free to add your vote on this. So how many of your beginner content writers, just drop me a note in the chat now. If you're a beginner content writer, just say I am or yes, because it's slightly different for people who are experienced and don't have a portfolio and those who are just getting started. So we'll cover both, but okay. So most of you are also beginners. Cool. Okay, so this is what the poll said. A majority of you don't have a portfolio, and some of you who do have a portfolio, it's not getting you the results you want. So we're going to address all of these things. And what I would also recommend is, if you're not taking notes, then at least keep your, those of you who do have a portfolio, keep it open and see what are some of the things that you can maybe improve on it and just, sort of go side by side. And I will also share my portfolio with you so you can see what is it that I send out to clients. Okay. So let's get started. I think we have quite a few people who join in now. So there's also a question, how many years of experience you must have to become a freelance content writer? Well, a lot of people just jump into it while they're, in college also, because it's not, if you want to become an expert content writer, if you're in an industry which requires expertise, yes, they might look at a few years in terms of how many, how much do you understand the industry, but really there's no limit to it, right? You could be a fresher. Like in one of my last mentorship batches, there was this girl who was in her 10th standard and she was writing pretty fabulously. And given, that there are all these new teen entrepreneur markets that are popping up, she does have like a good future. So you can get started anytime. And I don't think the lack of experience should hold you back. And I'll also try and show you how you can reflect that in your portfolio. Okay. So Jai Krishnan can't hear me properly. Can everyone else hear me clearly? Just maybe, okay. Yeah. So Jai Krishnan, you might want to check your audio because I guess everyone else can hear me very clearly. So I'm going to share my screen and okay. I hope you all can see my screen. Yes. Okay. Brilliant. Cool. So let's get started. The first question, of course, is, why do you need a portfolio? Anyone wants to take a stab at it? Any answers? Drop it in the chat box. Why do you need a portfolio? To show your talent, yes. To get clients, to quickly close clients, skills and expertise, yes. Okay, mainly to display your expertise, caliber, showcase your work, prove yourself, let your work speak for you, to present to the clients what you can do. Yep, all of this, yes. But I think one of the things that a portfolio helps you do is this, right? So most of you, all of you who put it in the chat window got some parts of it right, that a portfolio is the best way to show your skill, your expertise, and your proven results to clients. Because anytime you reach out to a new client, they are going to ask for your portfolio. So it is a non-negotiable. You have to have a portfolio if you want to make a career in content writing. Yeah. And as we saw, most of you don't have one yet. But I also wanted to explore one more thing, right? Okay, you have a portfolio, and some of you did, which is not getting you results, right? But if you level it up to a certain extent, what it does for you is it helps you win the trust of potential clients, right? And that gets you more business, because when they look at your portfolio and how it's presented, that's also very important. They sort of get a feeling of, yes, this person can deliver what I'm looking for. Yeah, so that trust and comfort is very important for a new client, when they're trying to outsource to a person they haven't worked with before, right? And there's a question from Dipanjali: how is a portfolio different from a resume or a CV? So a portfolio, like most of you pointed out in the chat, is a showcase of your work, whereas a resume is mostly a showcase of your skills and capabilities, right? So this one does include, how you have performed before, and not just in terms of only metrics, but in terms of actual content that they can see and go over, right? And Alok, I saw your question, but I'm going to answer it a little later because it's not relevant to today's topic, right? So, yeah, like every client is going to ask you for a portfolio, and if you're not able to send one, that conversation is going to get closed very quickly, because unfortunately the market we operate in is very saturated, right? While there are millions of dollars of opportunities that are out there, there are also many more content writers. Yes. So if you want to succeed, you've got to put your best foot forward in all instances. And that means, getting a set of professional tools ready, right? So when you have a chat with a client and they'll say, okay, sounds good, I'm interested in what you said, now send me your portfolio. If you wait 2 days to send it, then the client knows that you didn't have it ready, right? It should be immediate, where once you cut the call down, you sit down, put that portfolio together and send it to the client saying, this is what you can look at, right? So I'm also going to cover what are some of the things you should not do in a portfolio, and I'll come to that, a little later. The second thing is, what a portfolio does, it basically demonstrates the quality of your work, and it gives you that leverage to pitch for higher value work, right? Now, if you know that the quality of work that you put in your portfolio is amazing, your clients would not want, they will feel bad about paying you like a few paise per word, because they're like, okay, this quality is worth the money that I'm paying for. And that this is where, you sort of push onto your value proposition, saying, I can deliver better work than anyone else, and therefore I deserve to get paid this amount of money, right? And if they do push back, you can say, hey, you know what, you can go to a cheaper content writer, but do you really want that hassle of multiple revisions where they don't understand what you want, spelling and grammar issues, and you will have to put on more work into what they're doing rather than just giving it to me. So a great portfolio also sets that base for you to have that negotiation, because now the client has seen what you can deliver, and so they're more like willing and open to sort of say, this person has done good work, and they're not going to come cheap. And that's another thing which is very important, to break away from the bottom of the pyramid part, and ask for higher rates. And finally, of course, the third thing is, often the person you're speaking to in an organization, especially if it's a big company, they are not the final decision makers, right? They're trying to evaluate multiple vendors like you, or multiple freelancers, to see who might best get the job done. But there's someone else sitting behind them who is making those decisions, right? So if you send them something, it makes it easier for them to circulate it internally and say, hey, this person's done some amazing work. Let's, give them a priority when we want to hire them. Yeah. Um. So what does a kick-ass portfolio look like? Any thoughts? You can like put it in the chat window. What would you think like an amazing portfolio should include? Colorful. Okay. Anyone else? Diversity. Yes. Personal website. I might disagree with that. Value, elegant and simple, clean and crisp. It should show your strengths. Okay, content featured in publications, informative content should be simple, have keywords, show conversion rates, brand logos, best of what you have and can do, client testimonials, rich content on diverse topics, attractive and adorned with greater abilities. Okay. Your ability to do what you promised should be personalized. Okay, amazing. So I think what you guys have said, a lot of it is what a portfolio should look like. So according to me, it has 5 components. Okay. And you need to sort of put them all together in one place to be able to send out to clients. So first thing is your cover letter, or the message that outlines your value proposition, right? Cover letters we send out, basically it's the email that you will send to the client, or if you're like interacting with them on LinkedIn or any of the other job portals or wherever you've got the lead from, then a tiny message which would tell them, who you are and what you bring to the table. The second most important thing is the samples of your work, because these are the things that actually the clients want to see, right? So the sample should be, somebody said diversity, right? So these samples should show your versatility as a writer, because again, as a writer, the most important thing is to be versatile with your writing style, because you're not writing for yourself, you're writing for a different brand, you're writing for different people, and you need to show that in your work, right? So you could do maybe a couple of blogs, maybe just whatever specific to that industry. You could do some emails, you could do some social media posts, but in different tonalities, etc., so people can see, okay, yes, this person knows the language that they need to write in, but also they can tweak that language and tone and style to create multiple engaging pieces, right? um so someone is asking how to have samples if I'm yet to start. I'm going to come to that later in the webinar, so don't worry, I'm covering that because I know most of you are also beginners. Yeah. um, so yes, samples are very, very important. Then you also need to have a bio which establishes your expertise as a content writer. And I know someone initially asked, um, how many years experience do you need to have? And I said, you don't need to have any experience, but in that case, what do you show? So we'll cover that as well, right? A bio is basically like a short paragraph which sort of outlines who you are, what you do, etc. And I'll cover that in detail. It's also very important to have testimonials and social proof. When I say social proof, somebody said, right, the screenshots of results you've delivered, etc. And like in number terms, what have you delivered for your clients? So that is also important. And we'll also cover how do you get that if you're a beginner. And finally, it must have your contact details. I cannot tell you how many times I've got the samples from a writer, but except their email ID, there's nothing else that I can reach them out for, right? So it's very important to have your contact details, which include your number, your email ID, and also your LinkedIn profile. It's very important to have a good LinkedIn profile. And if you want to know how to build it, you can go to my YouTube channel. And there is a video that we did about how do you build a strong LinkedIn profile. It's there on the channel. in the, in one of the playlists. You can go take a look at that channel and see that video has like some really good points on how do you go about building a great LinkedIn profile. So I would say, um, go check that out. Some of you are asking me for a link. I will do that maybe towards the end. Remind me then. Okay. Um, okay. Or Fahim, are you here by any chance? If you are, and you can find a link to the video with Romal, then that would be awesome. Okay. Great. So like I said, the first point was the cover letter, the message that outlines your value proposition is important, right? But what is your value proposition? So any thoughts on that? What is, and I'd love it if you can share your value proposition in the chat window if you have one. Or if you don't have one, you can tell me what does it mean to have a value proposition. Okay, giving value for money to your client. And anyone else? USP. USP is unique selling proposition. Being a subject matter expert. Okay. Anyone else? Cool. So a value proposition is essentially what makes you valuable to the client, right? Like Anshul said, what value can you be of to the client? Uh, and it basically tells the client why they should choose you over everyone else, right? Like I already said, this is a very crowded market, so why should they choose you? And there are many ways to define your value proposition, right? I've just listed down three because these are the three main ones in terms of what clients look for. So one is, of course, the quality. Your value proposition could be quality. That is, you deliver stuff better than anyone else out there. Your value proposition could be efficiency, which is you deliver what they want faster than anyone else can. And since most of the times clients are, struggling for time, this is also a good value proposition to have. And the third one is, of course, you can deliver it cheaper than anyone else. Now, unfortunately, most content writers are competing on the third piece, which is if somebody is asking for 1 rupee, I'm only charging 80 paisa, so go with me, right? Now, unfortunately, that is a recipe for disaster because that would, I don't know how many of you know the story of the IT services industry and how that started, right? That's called cost arbitrage and body shopping, which is basically we'll do this cheaper than what you can do in house, and hence, or not even in house, we can do this cheaper than what you can find in your resources that you can find in your country, so give that to us. And it became a lot about cost cutting into the sector. And that's what's happening with content writers as well, right? They're saying, give me content and I'll do it for less money than whatever anyone else is quoting for. And the result is that you end up writing thousands of words without getting paid for it. I mean, I initially, when the Content Collective started, I was talking to a lot of people who joined my paid mentorship programs as well, basically because these are application-based programs. I was going over applications, speaking to people, and someone told me they wrote 40,000 words a month, and they got paid 20,000 rupees for it, and that's insane. Like that's so much effort that you're putting in, right? And if I write 30,000 words, I charge 4 lakh rupees for it. So if you see the discrepancy, it's an insane difference. And it's happening because people keep competing on the cost part of it. And if you've read my 30-day email course, I say that, right? If you get into the cycle, if cost is your only value proposition, you will always compete at the bottom of the pyramid, right? Because you'll keep getting volumes of work, you'll keep getting stuck in trying to deliver them, and you'll never be able to move up the ladder to the efficiency or quality part, right? So basically, the idea is don't compete on cost, compete on value, right? So, and this is like my favorite example. If you go and you will see that, right? Even if we don't do it, our mothers and grandmothers used to do that a lot. They will go to, these Sunday markets or vegetable markets, and they'll haggle with that poor vegetable vendor for 10 rupees. But you walk into a food hall, you buy a bottle of vanilla essence, which you get outside in 20 rupees for 900 bucks without blinking an eye. It's the same people, but because they're interacting with people in different situations, they are responding differently, right? So, so you want to be the food hall, you don't want to be the vegetable vendor in the Sunday market. And that only happens if you put together a portfolio that tells the client that you're a food hall, right? Um, Tejinder are asking 13 rupees a word. I charge 40 rupees a word, but I don't price per word. So there are, of course, different. I price for my time. So yeah, the max I charge nowadays, if you divide it, is 30,000 bucks for a 750 word article. But that is big. I'll show you my portfolio and why it attracts that kind of value. Yeah, cool. So this is an example of value that clients get when they work with me. Now, I don't necessarily write it in every email that I do because this is now established over time, right? But when I speak to clients, this is what I tell them, right? That I can think like a CEO and I can shape ideas and words that don't feel out of place from their desk, which makes me suitable to write for senior leadership. And if you look at organization, there's a funnel, right? They have a set budget for content. They will spend most money for the content that's at the top of the funnel, which is for their leadership. And as they go down to SEO blogs, they will reduce the amount of money they will spend on it, right? So you also need to figure out where do you want to play. So I play at the top of the funnel. I don't write SEO blogs at all. And I would say this is why, right? Because I'm able to process that information, right? And because I have invested the time in understanding the industry, reading a lot about it, talking to a lot of people about it, I often know as much as a subject expert, right? Now, it doesn't have to be tech, it could be any industry. But if you know more than the subject expert, and if you can help them identify what they talk about, then your value proposition is already elevated, right? Um, and uh, of course, I write impeccable content that's error-free, relatable, engaging, and it can shift smoothly between tones and styles because, of course, I write for multiple brands and they shouldn't all sound the same. A lot of you are asking if you're getting this recording. Yes, I will send the recording. Don't worry. Cool. I also deliver on time every time, and if there's an unforeseen event, which happens to all of us, right? Then I keep my clients updated, and I try and find someone else who can deliver it for them, because no matter what's happening in your life, the client's business still needs to go on, which I don't mean at all that you should burn out and you should try and deliver this no matter what the cost, but you should also understand the client needs to do certain things, they have to deliver certain things, and therefore communication is key and keeping them updated is key, right? And finally, my work barely needs one round of feedback, if any, and that helps clients close deliverable faster and to the subject expert's satisfaction. Now, someone is asking who's the subject expert. Subject expert is the person you're writing for, right? Often for companies, and you end up writing for them, other than website copy or certain SEO blogs, it will be from someone else's desk who is in the company, right? It could be their marketing manager or whatever. It could also be for the company website, etc. Right? So it should match their expectations, and it should be something that they're comfortable going from their desk. Yeah. So this is my value proposition. Yours could look much different from this because you may not be writing for CEOs, right? Some of you could only be writing copies, which would change this significantly. Some of you could only be writing SEO blogs, which could change this significantly. But I just wanted to show you this is what I communicate when I talk to my clients, and therefore I'm able to say, I'm sorry, but I can't work below like a 10, 12 rupee a word ever on anything. And even on those projects, I will outsource those because uh, if I write something personally, it falls in that 20 to 40 rupee a word bracket. Yeah. Okay. So once you've defined your value proposition, and because I talk it out, I don't put it in a cover letter, but since you are maybe reaching out to very new clients, you could add it to your cover letter. So like I said, a cover letter is just the email that you're sending out to people after you've had a chat with them. And this is not a cold email, right? This cover letter goes only after you've had one level of discussion at some forum or platform. And that's how it's designed. So I've just given you a quick cover letter template also here. So you basically simply say thank you for your time. As discussed, I'm sending over my portfolio for your reference, and you can attach it. In a nutshell, this is where you start defining what it is, right? I have been, you can add your designation, but a content and communication specialist for how many years. I have successfully delivered content assignments for, and you can list the companies that, okay, people can't see. This is because the font size is a little small, but I will read it out so you can, oops, this didn't go well. 1 second, it zoomed out too much. Anyway, so I'll read it out. So, and you will get it later as a recording, so you can zoom in then, right? Yeah, okay. So, Sarthak, I know I have to go full screen, but unfortunately that doesn't allow me to toggle between, screens without that one horrible black line. So you'll have to bear with this. It's anyway this one tiny thing which is here. So cool. Yeah, so like I said, basically you're saying in a nutshell, I have been a content and communication specialist for so many years. I have successfully delivered the content assignments for list the number of companies that, or the names of companies that you can mention. My clients prefer me for my whatever value proposition that you've defined. With my expertise in content creation, I have been able to, and then you add the results delivered, right? 2-3 things that you've done. And then I'm excited about working with whatever their company name is. And I'm sure I can deliver engaging content that aligns with your brand and business goals. And thank you again. Let me know if you need anything else. Ask them, right? Can you share something else? And I look forward to your response. So that's pretty much it. Sorry, any questions here? Related to the portfolio or the cover letter. If you have any questions on that, you can put it on the Q&A box, okay? Cool. So this is, yeah. What's up? Nikita is also asking how about freshers? I'm coming to that. But first, let me tell you what a portfolio should have, and then I'll come to how freshers can figure all this out. Cool. Okay. So what are the samples you should include? And this is very important, okay? Because sometimes I get lots of random things that people send over which are nowhere related to what I was asking for. So please pay careful attention to this slide, okay? Every time you send a portfolio, you should personalize it to the industry or the company that you're sending it to, right? I still do it. After 16 years in this industry, I still do it, okay? So recently, a big automobile company asked me for my portfolio. They wanted to utilize some of my services for the employee branding program. So I write mostly on tech, but I have done work in employee branding. So I created a specific portfolio for them, which was about employee branding. So you've got to put in that effort. And finally, they ended up giving me a 7.5 lakh worth of project, right? So if that tiny effort in the beginning is going to give you big results towards the end, yeah? So samples should be relevant to the industry that you're pitching to. They should demonstrate how you can write in different tonalities and for different channels. So ideally, like have a blog, article, social media post, email, sales collateral, etc. Sales collateral is case studies, brochures, flyers, those kind of things, right? Samples should also showcase your best work and work that you can deliver consistently. Okay, don't just write those 5 articles and say, this is done and now I'll deliver rubbish. Your samples should match what you can actually deliver. Yeah. And finally, it's good to include stuff that you've published online on media websites, etc. Now, what not to do? Okay. Don't send hundreds of sample write-ups. Nobody has the time to look at it. And in fact, it bothers the clients because they don't know which one to go for, right? So include only 5 or 6 samples that might be relevant for the client. For example, if the client has specifically asked you for social media, why do you want to send them 20 other things? Yes, maybe you can pitch a blog later that you can send them later. You can, but initially just do whatever is relevant for them. Don't send poems or personal journal entries. Nobody is interested. It doesn't say these are your personal thoughts, these are your personal musings, unless, of course, you're pitching to write poems for someone else. But it doesn't do anything for the client who's looking for business content, right? Don't send samples with spelling or grammar issues or plagiarism or terrible formatting, because that basically tells the client that you haven't even bothered to put effort in this sample. How would you, do it for an actual content piece? Don't include samples that contain another client sensitive information. So always black that out, cut that out, because you may or may not have signed NDAs, and that could really, you could actually be sued if something that's not supposed to go out gets out, right? Don't include samples that are not 100% your work. So if someone else has worked on it, then you need to sort of say that, yes, I worked with this on a team, so the client knows and doesn't form false expectations around it. Yeah. And of course, in today's time, don't include AI generated samples, because there are AI detector tools and clients will be able to catch it. Uh, so that's what from a sample standpoint. Then we have, of course, a great bio, which shows who you are, what are your accomplishments, and what are your capabilities, right? So give an interesting opening if you like to a bio. Some people do that because we're creative folks. It's sort of expected also. But it's optional. You don't have to like break your head over it. Introduce yourself, maybe in a third person. That's typically what bios do. Um, Add your name, designation, what you do. Designation could, like I said, just be content specialist. Give a quick look of what you can do, right? Where does your strength lie? What are some of the things that you're awesome at? Showcase what you've done. So list out some organizations or industries that you've worked with, some results that you've delivered, places that you've been featured in, if any. And you should start looking, pitching to some media houses to publish your articles there. So you can, talk about, okay, I wrote a blog for Mom's Presso or Women's Web or something like that, right? You can also include education here, any role shifts that, you've done. Um, and finally, give a glimpse of your personality, right? The things that you're passionate about, who you are as a person, where you're based, and so on. But don't make this like a long list. Just like one line or two is enough on this space. Anyone who has a bio, do you want to share it in the chat window? And I'd love to see some. Anyone? Just put it in the chat window. Sandeep is saying, I have B2B SaaS companies struggling with the origination. This is a value proposition. Cool. So if you have a bio, share it later. I'll love to take a look, but I like to show you what I send out. I know this is tiny text, but can you read it? Okay, so Faisal, this is a list of things you can do. This is not a bio. Uh, Sonali has shared something. Yep. See, so this is more like what a bio should be, right? Now, Sonali, if you can include maybe one amazing result that you delivered, that would make this bio much more effective. Cool. So this is a question that everyone wanted to me to answer. What can you do? Okay, some other folks have also shared their bios. Let me just take a quick look at that. Wow, 20 years of experience. So, Vanmala, this is a great bio, but you might want to now, if you want to be a content writer, you'll have to tweak this to show what can you do from a content writing standpoint. Yeah. Achal. Yeah, so see, this is a third person bio. Um, yeah. So this is also neat. You could add a few more details maybe about the work that you've done. And also you said published on various forums. So like I've listed this here, the featured in part. You can add that to your bio as well. Okay. So what can you do if you're a beginner and have no samples or experience to speak of, right? So first, because you've not worked with the client, you have to create your own samples. And a good way to do that is first to figure out what is the niche that you want to write in. Let's say you picked up lifestyle. So look at a couple of potential clients that you might have. And okay, is there a word limitation? I think 150 words is more than enough for a bio. Okay, so going back to this. So let's say lifestyle is your niche. See what are people writing in that space, right? Let's say Nika's blog, if you go and see, you can create a blog on similar topics. You could create a social media post depending on what lifestyle brands are posting. And if you already have 2, 3 clients in mind, go to their website, select something and say, hey, I saw this blog. Here's how I feel it could increase engagement, or I've written something that might be of interest to you, and I'm sharing that in my portfolio, right? So you will have to create your own samples to send out to people because you've not done any actual client work, which is okay. Second thing is also sometimes clients will ask you, do you have any experience in this particular domain, right? And you may not have because there are lots of different niches out there, but you can do it. Then you can always tell them that I could do a free sample for you. And that's how I got one of my initial clients when I quit my agency and I was just starting to freelance. And somebody connected me to this real estate startup and they said, have you done any work in real estate? And of course, I had not because I'm from a tech background. So I told them, no, I haven't done anything in real estate, but if you like, I can write a blog for you and then you can decide if that works for you. And they said yes. So I wrote a blog, they liked it, and I got the assignment. Though at that time, for like a 700-word blog, I was charging some 3,000 rupees only, which is 10x now. This was 2018 though, so it's not that far back. So it's just 5 years where because that time it was more about keeping the lights on, right? I've just left my agency, I have no money, I have a 3-month-old baby, I've got to do something. So any work is welcome. So I said, fine, never done real estate, let's take it. But then I quickly built up a client base, which realized that yes, I have the potential to deliver more value to them. So create samples. If you don't have the time to do that, offer the client that I will do a sample for you, a free sample for you, and let them see how your content aligns with their brand and their tone of voice. Second thing is start pitching to media websites to get your article published, right? Which will strengthen your bio. Because when people say, okay, your article has been published by some, and there are lots of them, right? There is, I know BuzzFeed isn't the greatest of examples, but yeah, there is BuzzFeed, there is Women's Web, there is all of those media websites. I even know Hindu, for example, they have an opinion page and they take reader submissions to publish. So you could it will take a bit of research, but yes, like nobody said it's going to be easy to get high paying clients. So you can start doing that research, make a list of media websites that you want to reach out to, and send them a pitch. If you're accepted, then you can get your article up there, and you can put that on your bio. So if you can see, for me, I had the World Economic Forum, I had a YFS magazine, I had Entrepreneur magazine, and I didn't know anyone there. I just like send them a pitch of an article and they accepted. So that's what, and it takes time, right? I have marketing profs also and B2C community. So those kind of things, and it takes time. Like if I send you an article today, it may get published 3 months down the line. But once the acceptance has come, I know that I can put this logo into my bio. So I spent a lot of time building this bio as it looks today, but initially it was a lot of effort. So start making that effort today. Then obviously, if you're a fresher, instead of experience, focus on your energy and enthusiasm to contribute. Someone had sent a bio with 2 years of experience, but when you read it, you felt like, yes, she's excited to contribute to the world of content creation, right? So phrase it in a way that you're really passionate about something and you're really looking forward to do things like that. And for testimonials, I would say this is what friends and family are for, right? So do some small samples for your peers, friends, or family, and get them to comment on your writing style, work ethic, and so on. And you can use those in your bio then. And obviously, as you build experience, as you keep getting client work, keep updating this. So this bio, the one I showed you, is the result of 12 years of putting stuff together, right? And I show you how it actually looks like today, what I send out today. But you've got to start putting in the groundwork now if you're a beginner, and keep updating every time you deliver a new client project. See, can I fit it in my bio or my portfolio anywhere? Right. Uh, Sorry, why did it go back? Okay. So putting it all together professionally, when I saw shared earlier, somebody also said it looks, it needs to look nice and professional. It has to be designed in a way. So this is my portfolio, okay, and I'm giving you a sneak peek on it. Please don't like copy it. Create your own portfolios. So, like, my niche is technology, right? And I want to write thought leadership for technology because that pays well. So this is the first slide of my portfolio, which talks about how do you drive business with thought leadership? Because ultimately every client wants to drive business, right? They don't care how many shares or likes their content has if it is not leading to any business outcome for them, right? Either brand awareness or lead generation. So I lead by saying, drive business with thought leadership. And then, of course, tell them don't use any of my content. So there is a disclaimer, and this is my company name. And then I give them a understanding that I know what's happening in your industry. So, so I tell them that because I do B2B marketing, that it's shifted. And I've like researched, I've put together what Gartner is saying, all of that, and Gartner is like an analyst, very well respected analyst in the IT space. So I'm telling them that your clients are everywhere looking for information. This is where they've moved to. So you need to be where the customer is and provide the right content, because at the heart of every great content brand is brilliant content. And now this is my quote, which I put on every asset that I send out. Then I also explain to them what is thought leadership, because sometimes, a lot of clients wouldn't know. And I tell them why it's important for your business. How does it help you build your business? What are the numbers saying? And then after building this context, is when I tell them that, so me and my partners together have 30 years experience in crafting great brand stories. And this is a slide of brands that I worked with, which I have blacked out for this deck because it's going to be in public space. But this entire slide is full of logos that I worked for. Then I obviously share my bio, which I showed you earlier. Then I share testimonials, right, from different people in terms of what they like specifically about my approach or the content I create. Then I share case studies of what I've actually achieved. Then I share samples of the work that I've done and more samples. And then I tell them, okay, these are the 6 things that I offer. And then I'll give them my contact details, right? So it's a very long put together deck. But when I started, it was 3 slides. Okay. Today it has moved to like around 20 slides, but I have spent time building it as the logos kept getting added, as the case studies kept getting added, as the content kept getting populated, and all these links that you see here, I change it based on who I'm sharing this with. And to make it easy, I also put it in the email for people, right? So the next question, of course, is how should you send your portfolio? So I know somebody put it in the chat box earlier that you should do a website. Any other thoughts on how should you send your portfolio out to your clients? Canva, okay. As a Google document, Google Drive, sharing your blog, email, okay. Can we send a PDF? Yes. Personal website, okay. So this is my opinion on it. You don't need a fancy website. Because see, as content writers, your main focus should be getting clients, right? And making a portfolio, yes. But websites are tricky things to create and maintain. And if you don't make an awesome one, then it may do more harm than good. Like they'll come there and they'll see it's not a well professionally done website, and professionally done websites are expensive. So maybe this person doesn't understand what needs to go out in the digital space. So avoid that. Rather, send attachments. Like even till date, I just send Word doc or PDF attachments. Of course, I'm conscious of the file size. As you can see, my samples have links, but I also send Word document attachments as my sample. So it's perfectly acceptable. You can send a Google Drive link, which is customized and accessible, right? You send me a link, I click on it, I have to request access, you've lost it. You send me a Google Drive link which has 20 folders, and it has happened. All of this has happened to me. I don't know which one to look at. And then I don't have the time to sift through what you want me to see, right? So give me 5, 6 of those samples in a Google Drive link, which is fine. You can send links to published work, as you saw in my portfolio. It could be either anything you've published on media websites, client websites, any social media links, or other blogging sites where you're putting up stuff which is not your personal, journal. That's fine. People only want to see, have you done good work? They don't care how you send it out to them, right? So don't waste your time on that. Okay. So this is all I had to say today. I'll take questions now, but I also wanted to just show you this one thing because there were a couple of questions. I had sent out 2, 3 things on email. So if you want to work with me as a personal mentor, there's a lot of free stuff available. Obviously, the 30-day email course is awesome. There's like these kind of free webinars also keep happening, and I keep bringing guests. But there are those who are working with me as a paid mentorship programs as well. So if you want to do that, there are 3 options. There is a 7-figure content writer program, which I'm gonna send a link to here. And then there is, which is more of a self-paced program. You can do it at your own pace, and you can do like a monthly call with me to ask your questions. There is an 8-week intensive program, which you have to apply for because that's not for everyone. So you can apply for that here. And I just recently launched an 8-month mastermind, which is only for people in the tech space. So if you want to do this, then you have to apply here. And if you have any questions on this, and I'm sure people will have questions, please reach out to Fahim. I don't know if he's here today, but I'm going to drop his email ID to you guys, or he's also on the WhatsApp group if you're a part of the WhatsApp group. And those of you who haven't done my free course, I'm also putting that link here because it's an amazing course. And a lot of time people ask me why you're giving it away for free. But you can access that here. Okay. Cool. So questions. This is all I had to say on portfolio building, etc. So I'm going to look at a Q&A which is there. So all of you who is asking me about the program fees, please reach out to Fahim. He'll explain it to you. For the 7-figure writer one, you can go to this link, and the fees and everything is listed there. In first and second program, like the 7-figure writer and the 8-week program, the difference is 7-figure writer is open to everyone. 8-week mentorship is by application only. And in 7-figure writer, you get like 2 calls with me in 2 months. In 8-week program, you get a weekly call, and I also review and give feedback to one of your articles personally. Right. So my personal time is the main difference between the 2 programs. The course content is same for both. WhatsApp group link. Okay. AK, have you joined my 30-day free program? If you have joined that, the WhatsApp link will be right there. Cool. So if I self-publish on Medium, will that work as a portfolio? Yes, as long as the content that you're publishing is about what your client wants to write, and not, like I said, not your personal musings or where you went and traveled. It has to be about, let's say if you're writing about lifestyle, then it could be about, you know, how a particular cosmetic brand does certain things, right? If you do that, that's fine. So AK, then join this free course and you will get the link to WhatsApp also. Okay, Sadak is asking, do you use any tools to make your content writing top notch? So I use minimum tools. I use Grammarly to check for grammar issues and plagiarism. I check, I use ChatGPT, and I use Originality AI to detect any AI in my content, right? Is cover letter to be personalized? Yes. For every cover letter that you send out, it has to be personalized to the person or the brand that you're sending to. What to do if I don't have any results with regards to content delivered for previous clients? Is it possible for you to ask previous clients? If you don't have results, that's fine. You can, if you have testimonials that and samples, that should be fine. Because I know sometimes clients don't share it, but maybe if you've written social media, you can take a screenshot of how many likes or shares it has. That's also good. AK is asking, I'm a beginner, I don't know how to start, where to get clients, how do you deliver? So AK, please take that 30-day free course. It has everything. You'll get emails for 30 days, and it literally has everything that you need to get started as a content writer. Yeah. Okay. More questions. How do you determine how much to charge? Again, there's, I think one of the days there is an email on pricing in the 30-day program. Please go read that email. I think it's day 7, which will tell you how do you price. Will AI harm the career of content writers? It will harm the careers of everybody who's not leveling up. It doesn't have to be content writers. It can be anyone. And this is my favorite example to give. You know, AI is creating autonomous cars, right? Which also means it's creating autonomous vehicles, which means it's also creating trucks that drive by themselves. So truck drivers are out of a job. Is it affecting their business? Yes. So it's going to happen to all of us. But the thing is, what do you do next? How do you level up? So content writers who want to beat AI need to be better storytellers, need to be better connected to their clients. So the bottom of the pyramid is not going to survive. And I'm being very honest about it. Unless you up level, tell better stories, create personalized content, be a consultant and a partner to your client, this AI is going to take over everything. Like it's not just content. Even consultants sitting in Big Four are feeling the effects. So it's not just us. It's everywhere. So the only thing that you can do is level up. 30-day course link I have just shared in the chat window, learn.supriyajain.com. Those who haven't received emails to join, it's the first email that goes out, the WhatsApp community. I'm not sure why you're not getting it, but let me find the link to that. Okay. For freshers in content writing, which you recommend, first or second program? Like I said, both programs are the same, first and second, in terms of course content. The only difference is that in the first program, you get 2 calls to get answers to your questions. In the second program, you get 8 calls and access to further calls as cohorts proceed. How do you assist in getting the projects? I don't assist people in getting projects. I will tell you how to find clients, how to pitch to them, how to create portfolios like this, but you've got to do the searching yourself. In my paid programs, when I get any opportunity my way, like today morning itself, I've shared 2 opportunities with people in the WhatsApp groups where, the personal mentorship ones. So that I enable, but how you convert it is up to you. Okay, this I have already answered. Is there a chance I can work under you as a content writer? So Vanmala, if you want to work with me, you have to join one of those mentorship programs. I keep posting opportunities there that come to me, like, as my business. And then if possible, you can join one of those. So those are bidding projects. I will give it to the entire group, and first come, first serve. Whoever wants to take it up, they can send a quote, and then we decide based on that. So it's very democratized that way. Is portfolio personalized to industry or a company? You can do either. Personalize the portfolio to an industry. If it's a big client, you might want to even do it to a company, but personalize the cover letter to the company. For the bio, why do you suggest using a third-person voice? It's usually just more accepted. There is no, it's not a hard and fast rule, but most people write third person, especially because if they want to forward it to someone, they can't say I am so and so, right? Which is why it becomes more shareable when you do third person. Okay. Since Google has allowed AI content use, how hard is it to stand at original human written content? See, AI, what is AI doing? It is picking up ideas which are already out there and synthesizing them and creating something. But every client will have a personal story, right? Which AI doesn't know. So your job becomes, and the clients also don't know that they have those stories, right? So your job becomes as a content writer to dig out those stories and include in their content. And that is where your value lies. Storytelling, personalization, contextualization. And I covered that in one of my previous webinars. So unfortunately, there's not a recording on that, but those are the things you need to look at. Yeah. Okay. Is 30 days course starting on 5th October? 30-day course is live all the time. It's a anytime you sign up, you'll start getting, it's an automated thing. So you'll start getting those emails that I've written once. Okay, cool. So I think I've answered all the questions. Okay, so, most of you want the WhatsApp group link. 1 second. Let me just give that to you. Give me a second. I will stop sharing. Give me 1 second. I'll give you the WhatsApp link. And I'll share the link to my YouTube also. Thank you, Josephine, for reminding me. Sorry. So Rohit is asking for the Tectonic Mastermind program. Does it cover only IT, tech, or other forms of tech are also included? Um, so mostly we will, can you explain what do you mean by other forms of tech? Do you mean SaaS or uh, I'd like some more clarity on that. So, okay, just to give you an idea of what Tectonic is going to be, um, see, the main challenge I see in people writing feature-based content versus people writing thought leadership content is the ability to process information. So while the 8-week program is like me talking and people listening and answering questions, the Tectonic Mastermind for 8 months is a done with you program. So you can uh, it's going to be like a university degree, right? I will facilitate it, but you guys have to apply your brains. So I'll give you reading assignments. You will come and discuss what you understood from that because comprehension is like I have done this for a long time now, and comprehension is the biggest challenge people face. Once you're sorted with comprehension, writing becomes easy. Yeah. So I'm going to focus more on comprehension. So you'll discuss what you've understood. You'll figure out how different people interpret the same thing differently. And then you're going to write stuff and collaboratively we will figure what needs to level up. So I will focus mainly on IT, but we could bring in different perspectives if that's what you like. And I will also like help you with your client pitches, check over your assignments, those kind of things, right? Let me just share this is the YouTube link, and I'm just sharing the WhatsApp link also. And I know we're a bit over time, but okay, this is done. This is done. Okay. I'm writing in Marathi how I can learn this course. So anonymous, the course itself is language agnostic, but the course is in English. I'm sorry, there is like I haven't really um, done the vernacular versions yet. Give me 1 second. I'm giving you the WhatsApp community link. It's here. This is the WhatsApp community link. Which book am I reading on my course page? That is a book I wrote, I think. I'm not sure. I'll have to check what it is. Cool. So I guess, okay, there are more questions. Okay, I want to know what qualifies for technology in the program. So we are going to cover mostly what big IT companies are looking for, because the intention is, of course, not to become tech experts, but to deliver content that these IT and product companies are looking for, right? So we're going to talk AI, we'll talk automation, we'll talk maybe some methodologies like DevOps. We may talk about data analytics, we may talk about cloud and other infrastructure services. So effectively, what some of these IT services and product companies want to create in terms of thought leadership and sales content. And we'll cover like articles, blogs, case studies, brochures, flyers, emails, social media posts, all of that, but all related in the technology domain. Yeah. Yeah. If you just want to generate a basic side income, just try maybe the 7-figure writer course, or Krishnam, check, like, speak to Fahim. He was a part of my very first cohort, and then he got hired with my company because he was awesome at it. So I have dropped his email ID here. Please speak to Fahim, and he can actually give you the view of a person who's been through the course himself, right? And I think that would be better than getting details from me because I'm the creator of the course. So, so Pooja is asking, how do I build myself? Okay, so all these questions maybe for another webinar because they don't relate to the topic of what we're talking about today, which is portfolio. But I'll keep doing these webinars, so something will work out around that as well. Yeah. Uh, cool. Awesome. It was great talking to you guys today. I hope you got some value from this webinar today. If you have any questions, like I said, you can drop in a note to Fahim. Uh, and I will see you again very soon. Yeah. Take care. Bye. And the video recording will be on the YouTube channel, so you can go refer to it later. Yeah. Super. See you. Have a good weekend. Bye.